Okay. So I'm Judy Feaster, the dietitian at Lord's Legacy Ministries, and we're going to go over mechanical soft diets and thickened liquids today. Um, I've been working with Christy and Dolly for a couple of years, and they do have dysphagia, which is a swallowing difficulty, and need their food chopped up. And so Janine has asked me to clarify exactly how small the food needs to be chopped and what needs to happen, so that everybody is on the same page and everybody's doing the same thing. Because we don't need to have it puree all the way to like mashed potatoes, pudding consistency. We just need to have it chopped, and there's a certain way to do it, and there's a certain size it needs to be. So that's what we're going to go over. So on the menus, when I revise those, beside the things that need to be put in the processor, it will say Ninja chopped. So I'll just emailed everyone a copy of the mechanical soft diet. That's what we'll go over first. Um, as far as the meat, first cut it into pieces. Don't just put the whole chicken breast in there at once. Just cut it up into small to medium pieces with a knife. And then it should be hit the pulse on the Ninja 1 to 2 times. And that should be enough to get it to the proper consistency, which is 1/4 of an inch. And I measured like the end of this ink pen is 1/4 of an inch. So you might just want to look at a ruler sometime and see about how small that is, because it doesn't need to be ground up like if you were making uh, sloppy joes or spaghetti or something. It doesn't need to be that fine, but it does need to be pretty small, like smaller than a kidney bean type. Um, and then after the meat is processed, it needs to be moistened. That's really important. You can use a variety of things to moisten it, like gravy, broth, even barbecue sauce, ketchup, Alfredo sauce, whatever moistening sauce that you want to use that would go with the meat. But broth is good to just have on hand and use with chicken or beef. Um, that makes it more cohesive so that she can swallow it in a more formed bolus. Um, so if you have like scrambled eggs, that would be okay to not put in the processor, but if you have hard boiled eggs or fried eggs, you might want to just put those in there and pulse those 1 time. Um, cheese should not be like given in chunks or slices, but cheese sauce is okay, or shredded cheese, or cheese in casseroles or melted on meats or vegetables, would be fine. As far as nut butters, like peanut butter, um, it should be always mixed with something else so it's not so sticky, like applesauce. I even saw one place that it recommended using butter. I wouldn't think of that, but you can mix it with jelly, which goes well. Um, Anything to reduce the stickiness. You wouldn't want to just do peanut butter that would stick to the roof of her mouth. Um, okay, so that's all the meat I was going to go over. Next is sandwiches that you would make with the meat. So if you make a sandwich, cut off the crust and then cut the sandwich in fourths, and then cut each one of those pieces in half. So you have like 8 small pieces um, for a sandwich. And you can either use like chicken salad, egg salad, something like that, or a meat that has been processed. And if you use like hamburger, you would always want to mix it. You can mix it with like mayonnaise to make it stay on the bread and be more cohesive that way, or any of the other sauces. Milk, just, of course, that's okay. We're going to go over in a minute the thickened liquid part, but any kind of milk, yogurt, sour cream, cream cheese, any of that's fine. Just nothing that has a lot of chunks of fruit or nuts or coconut. Um, Fruits are allowed as long as they are soft. You wouldn't want to give them something that's not easily mashed with a fork. Like canned peaches would be fine if they're cut up in 1/2 inch. Now we're going to talk about a different size, 1/2 inch pieces. Um, I measured, if you can, I measured the end of this marker is 1/2 inch compared to the 1/4 inch on the end of my ink pen. So it's a real small piece, but you can use canned um, peaches, pears, things like that are easily mashed with a fork, or fresh fruit that's easily mashed with a fork, like watermelon or kiwi. Something, some of the kiwis might be too hard, so you have to really um, use your own judgment and mash it with a fork to see if it's easily mashed. Things that are not allowed are pineapple of any sort because it's too fibrous. Even the crushed pineapple, I would not recommend anything except pineapple juice. Um, Grapes, I know that you all don't use anyway. Um, Berries, um, because of the seeds, and anything with a tough skin would not be allowed. Okay, and then moving on to the vegetables, that would be 1/2 inch piece, like the fruits. Not allowed would be the potato skins or whole kernel corn. So when corn's on the menu, you would always want to give them cream style corn. Um, and no raw vegetables except shredded lettuce would be okay. And the vegetables need to be cooked tender. So nothing that's like, if you like your vegetables more on the crisp side, like broccoli and cauliflower, they could not have that. It would be too hard. It needs to be cooked a little bit more. Um, so uh, that would be the same as the meats as far as the Ninja. You would put those in the Ninja and hit it 1 or 2 times on the pulse. Desserts and sweets are fine as far as like cake with icing, um, soft cookies. So, like if you have cookies that are hard, you could put them in the microwave to soften them up. Something like cheesecake, jello pudding, sherbet. We're going to talk about those in the thickened liquids, but those would be fine for Christy. Um, Not allowed would be anything with hard nuts or crunchy crusts. Like if you have a cobbler or a pie that's not got a crunchy hard crust, that would be allowed. And I would cut the end of the crust off of pie and just give maybe like the middle, or um, if it has a crust on the top and bottom, maybe just use the bottom crust and the filling, something like that. Just try to be real careful with the crust. Um, and no coconut seeds, no popcorn or caramels. Um, so that pretty much covers the mechanical soft diet. I'll go over the thickened liquids real quick and then we'll have time for questions. Um, so the liquids are thickened so that they stay hydrated, but um, like Dolly is not able to use regular thin liquids because it would go down in her lungs. That's why they have to be thick. And you all have the powdered thickener to use. And there's a, I sent a revision to the thickened liquids. You might not have seen that. I just sent it about an hour ago. And it has at the bottom the measurements for mixing juice, milk, and coffee, things like that, how much thickener to go in each of those beverages. Um, it's different depending on what beverage it is, and I'm not sure if the manufacturer's instructions on your thickener has that, but you need to make sure you're using um, tablespoons and cups and the right measuring equipment. Like when you use a tablespoon, you know, scoop it in the powder, and then you take a knife and level off the tablespoon. It shouldn't be just a heaping tablespoon, so that you get the right amount. And if you look at, if you got the chart that I sent about an hour ago, like apple juice would take 2 tablespoons plus 1/2 teaspoon of powdered thickener. Whereas if you're using milk, 8 ounces would only be 1 tablespoon because it's thicker than juice. So there's different amounts for different liquids. Um, you could um, make them up ahead of time. What I like to do where I work in the nursing homes is have them make up, like if the person likes water or whatever they like to drink, make up like a quart or even a gallon and put it in the refrigerator because it thickens as it sits. If you try to rush and do it right up at the mealtime, you're gonna think it's not thick enough and keep adding thickener until you've got too much. And that starchy taste is not good if you get too much. So the if you can do it at least 5 minutes ahead of time, that'll give it time to sit and thicken up a little bit because it really does thicken as the longer it sits. Um, so some things to not do give on the thickened liquids would be regular ice cream or sherbet. Um, there's a lot of confusion about that because it looks like it's thick, but the rule is if it melts at body temperature when it's going down your throat, you know, if your temperature is 98 degrees, it's going to be melted to what it would be sitting out at 98 degrees. So it's going to be thin. Anything that melts to thin liquid would not be allowed, like ice cream and sherbet. One way to make thickened ice cream and sherbet is to, I put the instructions on there to add the thickener and then refreeze it. You have to thin it down to thin and then add the thickener and refreeze it. So you could put it like in individual little containers with lids and keep it in the freezer. So you just, you know, make up a lot at one time. Jello, the same thing. You add the thickener to the liquid and then chill it and it gels. If you have soup, the broth of soup, like vegetable or chicken noodle soup, has to be thickened. You could drain the broth off and thicken it and then add the vegetables or noodles back, or you could just puree it all together. I've seen that done, and then thicken it a little bit. some people don't tolerate those mixed consistencies like vegetable soup, a thin and a chunk at the same time. So if you see any problem at all with not tolerating it, then you would be better off just to go ahead and puree it all up and thicken it a little bit on the soup. Things like mandarin oranges are too juicy. They have too much liquid in them. Melon, like watermelon, and then any fruits that you give needs to be drained. You know, put in a strainer or drainer and drain the juice off. One other tip I put on there is like if you want ice cubes, if you want the drink to stay cold for a while, you could just take a regular ice tray and thicken up some water, pour in the ice tray, and make ice cubes that are thickened. And that way their drink wouldn't be warm, wouldn't get warm. I think that's it. That's a lot. If anyone has questions, I could take those.
Okay, everybody, you can unmute and ask questions. I encourage to ask questions now while we have Judy. I will say, Baybrook, the thickened liquids currently are for Dolly. Christy is not on thickened liquids, but it's still great information to have.
Mm-hmm. I have a question.
Okay.
On Christy's meal plan, there it says she can have pineapple, but you said just a while ago
Crushed
she
pineapple.
couldn't. The crushed pineapple, and she loves pineapple. That is her snack go-to, pineapple.
Oh.
The crushed pineapple and cottage cheese, she loves it.
Well, I did a lot of research on this, and this was the version that we came up with Janine.
Mm-hmm.
I could run that back by her, but this is like we had like 4 different versions of mechanical soft, and pineapple was not allowed. I think there was a choking incident with pineapple once. So I can run that by Janine, but as of now, no on that. Would she
Y'all should see the look she just gave me.
Oh, sorry. Would peaches work? Peaches or pears? No.
No? How about peaches in your what does that stuff have to come on? Spit it out for me. In your cottage cheese, you want to try some peaches or some pears? You want to try pears in it? She wants some pears.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a lot better. Good.
Yep.
Good. I'm glad she was there to ask.
Christy's
Okay.
a smart girl.
We need some pears.
Yes, she's
Mary, we need some pears.
Take a drink.
So you all don't know, when Christy, she's gotten choked on pineapple before, but they were the pineapple chunks. So that's why we tried the crushed pineapple. But since we're making a consensus on exactly what Lord's Legacy is going to do with the soft mechanical diet, like I said, Judy and Janine, look, there are many varieties out there, and Ariel actually brought that to my attention last week.
I want to say something.
Go
when
for
you're
it.
done, Mary.
No, go for it.
Okay, so we went to Starbucks and got drinks, right? All 4 of us got the same drink. It's a refresher. All of them are like this, except for Christie's. No fruit. I was worried because the fruit in it. So I got her
My
no
heart
fruit.
just stopped when you were showing me those refreshers. All I could think about was those fruits, and they get sucked up in the straws. And I was just like, "Oh, Teresa."
And with no fruit, her calorie count for this one's lower.
Good choice, Christy.
Good job. I know you're enjoying that. Oh.
Hey, Cannonball lady,
She
do
keeps
you all
handing it
have a
back to me.
question?
Miss Mary, can you get us some pears in the house quick?
I can get them in there. I'll see what I can do.
Okay, because if not, I'm gonna have to go to the dollar store today, because she knows she's gonna want
Well-
that snack at 8 o'clock tonight.
Christy can have it. She has a wide variety of snacks she can choose from, and she's done so before. And I
Okay.
think Christy can choose a snack tonight from her list.
Okay.
She's done it before, I promise.
She said, uh-huh.
She said, uh-huh.
Want a new snack tonight? Try something different? Yeah. Okay. She said,
Yep.
yep.
Okay.
Great. Great.
She easy to get
Cannonball,
along with.
do any of my Cannonball ladies have any questions concerning Dolly?
No, ma'am.
Thanks, Hannah.
I'm correct. I think the only distinction is that meat has to be smaller than vegetables and fruit. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes.
And and with the thickener, the fluid in it, so it's not dry. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't want to eat it dry. I wouldn't want to feed it to Christy dry.
So I was just looking as I was listening to that, and I've printed out all the materials, and I'm going to send them out to the house. But also I was looking up for diameter size. It looks like the 1/2 is also like the size of a penny. Would you think that's about right, Judy? I know you showed your marker, but I was trying to find.
I think it's a lot smaller than a penny.
A dime.
Maybe a little smaller than a dime.
Okay, yeah, I knew the one was a pin cap, and the larger one I was trying to.
Yeah, if we could. So
Anybody got a ruler?
I do.
The
I
fourth.
got my baby ring.
Okay.
Mary's not looking. Look, Mary, here's my baby ring.
Yeah, well,
It's about smaller than a dime,
staff in 2 houses aren't gonna be able to see that ring.
right?
Well,
Let's
It's
see.
stuck on my finger.
Oh yeah, I would say about a dime. I've got a ruler right here in front of my face.
okay, good. Or the width of your pinky finger. On mine,
Yeah.
it's about a half.
Does that make sense to everybody? Are you understanding like the size?
And the fourth is like an eraser, a regular pencil eraser.
Okay.
I'm good.
I have a question for bananas on Christy's meal plan. How are we supposed to be giving those to her? Because they're pretty soft, and I was like cutting them up or like roughly mashing them, or do I do them whole since they're so soft? How is that supposed to work for bananas?
Well, because she takes such large bites, I would not want to give her
Wow,
the
they
whole.
know you so well, Christy.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I hate to say that in front of you, Christy.
Oh, she knows it.
She knows it because I'm at lunch. I sit right beside her and I'm like, Christy, smaller bite. No, Christy, look, this small, and I'll show her again, and then she'll go back in and she'll wait till my eye, like I'm getting ready to stuff something in my mouth, and she'll go dig right in. I'm like, Christy, that's too small, too big.
Yeah. If it was,
We're talking about you, baby.
I
That's
guess
right.
it would depend on the person as far as a whole ripe banana is allowed on this diet. It's the only thing because it's so soft, but I would cut it up for Christy because of the large bites.
I've honestly noticed that she takes smaller bites when she's eating it whole than if she eats it like with a spoon. She gets multiple small bites on there
Okay.
if I cut them up. Whereas if she just eats it off the peel, like I just recently gave her I just gave it to her whole, and I actually was surprised that she kind of did better, but I wasn't sure what the rules were for that.
That's pretty rule of thumb, right?
A whole banana is allowed. So if you're sitting with her, which I know you all do for everything that she eats, and you see that the bites are small that she's taking, I would think that would be fine to give her the whole banana.
She likes it when I make, I take a banana, an apple, and sometimes if we have oranges, I'll take oranges and I puree it all together like a kind of smoothie type.
Smoothie,
And
yeah.
she likes that, like a fruit mixture. She likes to eat that too.
That's good. Yeah, and if you add milk, it makes a good
I never
smoothie.
thought about adding milk to it.
Yeah, that would be good. Is that good, Christy?
She's smiling.
I
think Chuck, our staff educator, had a question. So that
No, I was. No, I'm good.
Okay, yeah.
I had a question about tuna. Is it good with its consistency? The Miracle Whip?
Yes.
Or does it still need? Because I know it's a thin tuna from a can, and I know that's.
Tuna from a can with Miracle Whip. Is that what you're asking? Yeah.
Yes. Is it? Okay, because that's the meals I have.
That would be fine because it's flaky. That would be fine.
Good question.
It's just like our chicken salad. I smashed it up enough. It's almost the same consistency as tuna fish. So it's just adding her other stuff in it when I'm mixing it. So
yes, that's good.
And I can get them sliced, them little bites for her out of her sandwich. I can get them small. She looks at me like, "What did you do to my sandwich?" It's not what it looked like when it started out.
Well, and two, you want to make sure that you never try to keep it as normal as you can. Like if you can cut up everything and not have it all, of course, not mixed together, but if you can cut up the sandwich and have it look like a sandwich on the plate, that's better than just, we want to make it appear, the appearance is really important when you present food. So.
That's like with a meal, instead of mashing all her food up together, like do her meat and then her vegetables and stuff and have it like that instead of having it all. I don't want to eat my carrots and stuff all mashed up with my meat. I would like to eat my carrots separate from my meat.
Yes, definitely. Everything needs to look like a normal plate, just mechanical, soft. Yeah, just chopped up. Yeah.
Judy, did we go over the actual like using the Ninja versus kind of like pureeing it and everything? I wasn't sure if I caught that.
I don't actually have a Ninja, but I looked at it online last night, and Janine said to do the pulse 1 to 2 times.
Now we have 2 different Ninjas. We have one that's about this big, and you just put the thing on top of the thing and you push it. It automatically does it, but when you put your hand on it, it'll go however fast you want it.
Yeah.
That's the one we predominantly use at the house versus the big blender, the big blender version.
We're talking about this one.
Yeah, that one, Nariel, there you go.
That's it.
We use that one.
So so the idea again isn't to make mashed potatoes or to puree, but the idea is just. And Teresa, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying the better thing to do is to make sure that we're separating, like do that with the meat, then do that with the separate veggie or a separate, whatever those separate things are.
I noticed with Christy, she likes it better like that instead of having all her food thrown up in the middle of it and then pureed. She will
Mhm.
eat more. She eats it better when she has like her, or not even pureed, chopped. If her carrots are chopped, and then her meat is chopped, and then whatever else is with it is chopped, and it's all
Well, because
separated
it
on a plate.
changes the flavors if you were to mix them all together.
Right.
So
Right.
maybe get like a cutting board out and have everything pre-chopped to go into the blender so that you can then add it separately to the blender to get those separate sizes depending on if it's a meat or a vegetable.
Right.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Do you guys want me to try to demonstrate? I could try to demonstrate.
We only have about 7 minutes left if you can do it. I don't know if anybody else has other questions. I know it says on mine that we got 6-7 minutes left before we run out of
Yes.
time here.
I'm done.
Did
If she
anybody else have
wants
any
to.
other questions?
Are we thickening Christy's? Is she gonna have thickened drinks or no?
Hey,
I know
hey,
it said
Allison, why don't
thickened.
Allison, type in your questions. I think your internet connection is breaking up, so we're getting like just every other word from you. Maybe type it in there. You see where it says chat?
I think she was asking if Christie's liquids are thickened, and the answer is no on that. Only, yeah, only Dolly. Christie's liquids are thin.
The faces she makes cracks me up. Christy, when she drinks it, she's like, "Is it good? Okay, just making sure."
Mary, did you want Ariel to try to take that last 5 minutes and show
Yeah,
us?
go right ahead.
If she had, I don't know, Ariel, if you think you can.
Yeah. Give me like 5 seconds to get. I brought out the pie, so now everybody wants the pie.
Me too.
There you go. Okay. So Annie made apple pie. Let me see if I can flip this around here. So here's a slice of pie with the crust cut off. So I already cut the crust off because we said no crust for that. So who took the spoon? I took the spoon over there. So if we put it just kind of like in pieces, so it'll fit into the mixer, right? And then can kind of slide it. Oops. Okay, well, I guess.
Drive some, Ariel.
Yeah, I guess.
Good operation.
Hey, I'm proud she can do all that with one hand.
Okay, it's gonna get loud. So I think that was what, 4 pulses? We're mostly to 1/2 to 1/4 of an inch, looks like. I think the biggest piece is this one right here. So I could
Right.
probably do 1 more pulse, but I think after that it should be good. Is that in agreement with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we don't have to be like strict and rigid about 1 to 2 pulses. Just make sure that it ends up in that, inch to, or the 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch.
And on these papers, I'm going to send home. I have it. Can you all see that? I kind of marked it
Yep.
on the paper. So you all will have a visual guideline as well. And we'll get
Mary,
these
do you
out
want
to
me to
the
pick them up
houses.
when I drop this stuff off?
Yes, ma'am. That'd be great.
Because we'll be
Thank you.
leaving here as soon as the meeting's over. Yes, ma'am. Excuse you, Tina.
Okay, is everyone feel confident?
Yep.
And then, of course, you all, everyone should have Judy's email. I know she's emailed this information to everybody. If you have further questions, or myself or Chuck, okay? And I'll
Yes,
go ahead
ma'am.
and end this meeting. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy your Friday.
You too.
And thank you all for participating. We had a great big turnout. Thank you very much. Almost every single person showed up today. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, everybody.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
guys. Thanks, Judy.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Miss Judy.
Bye.
Bye. Chrissy, goodbye.